Illegal logging has a devastating effect on some of the world's most valuable remaining forests and the people that live in them. It causes carbon emissions, destroys valuable animal habitats, and at its worst, has kept some poor countries locked in cycles of corruption and poverty. Companies and consumers in Europe and around the world are unwittingly buying illegal wood, creating profitable markets for illegal loggers, and undermining efforts to enforce forest law in many wood-exporting countries. By contrast, it is recognized that a legal and sustainable forestry sector can provide a wide range of benefits to people in developing countries, rural livelihoods, environmental services such as watershed protection, and sustainable resources on which to build long-term economic development. So a number of wood-producing countries are working in partnership with the European Union to shut illegal timber out of their markets by agreeing to trade only in timber which can be shown to be legal. These agreements are called FLEGT, Forest Law Enforcement, Governance and Trade Voluntary Partnership Agreements. The agreements are based on each country's national laws, endorsed by government agencies, civil society groups and companies, and include systems for checking that relevant environmental, social and economic laws have been met, and that logs can be traced from the forest to the point of export. The agreements between the European Union and timber-producing countries are legally binding and, once verification systems are in place, only licensed legal timber will be traded under them. The result is that the people of forest-rich countries will be assured that their precious resources won't be stolen by illegal loggers. Governments and buyers in Europe and around the world will know that they are not fueling demand for illegal timber, whose production damages forests and harms the people that rely on them.
Debate is key, critical engagement with the issues.
FLEGT voluntary partnership agreements reserve a key role for civil society in the national process, developing a legality definition and highlighting reform opportunities.
We acknowledge that VPA has started a governance reform process, and this is what we will build on.
In many countries, they have also been represented on negotiating delegations.
Civil society have some ideas, positive ideas they can put, and they serve as pressure group for them actually, which is fine once in a while to have pressure groups to make you sit on your heels, to make you also be ready for change if you believe in it.
Kita melakukan penguatan kapasitas kepada masyarakat sipil, kelompok-kelompok masyarakat sipil, itu melalui berbagai pelatihan untuk mendokumentasikan bukti-bukti kejahatan hutan dan bagaimana mengemas informasi yang didapat dari lapangan menjadi sebuah informasi yang bisa digunakan untuk mempengaruhi pengambil kebijakan, penegak hukum untuk bertindak terhadap kejahatan illegal logging ini.
I think that the EU came in with beautiful idea of insisting on consultation from the producing countries. Has opened a lot of avenue for the stakeholders to be part of the discussion of the government.
Voilà, mais ça a été un échange très interactif et fructueux finalement, parce que les experts des deux camps ont travaillé durement.
The different stakeholder groups hear themselves more and more and understand more and more what the concerns of the other groups are, and then you can find some win-win solutions.
Siapa yang diuntungkan dari VPA ini kita harus yakin dulu. Karena kita punya stakeholder, pengusaha-pengusaha kayu juga yang bagus, tentu ingin juga seperti tadi, sudah ada VPA apa untung ruginya, loss, win, dan risk.
Stakeholder endorsement is vital to a credible VPA. National discussions have included all relevant government departments, parliamentarians, non-governmental organizations and small and large companies from the forest sector. Any group that is directly involved in or affected by forest operations can be a VPA stakeholder. Involving civil society in the VPA design will help deliver a forest sector that is sustainable and benefits the wide range of people that depend on it.
This is a part of a work we're doing with 20 different communities, making sure that decisions about forests actually start with the communities themselves, that they are in the forefront of the allocation decisions that are made if they want to allocate to outside investors. And when they do, we want to ensure that their benefits are substantial, but also a rights issue in terms of making sure that those who depend on the forest and who have lived and managed the forest for generations actually reap or share equitably in the benefits that are derived from those resources.
If communities understand their rights under law and the value of their resources, they can be part of enforcing that law and can make decisions about how their forests can be used for the long term.
These are issues that need to be confronted. These are discussions that need to be had, and these are differences that need to be resolved. We cannot wish them away.
Responsible companies are also important stakeholders in national VPA processes, because VPA legality measures apply to all companies in a partner country once an agreement is in place.
Vu que pendant ces négociations, il était important pour la communauté européenne et aussi pour le Congo que tous les acteurs soient présents, et pour cela j'ai représenté le secteur privé dans ces négociations. Et il faut des techniciens pour faire en sorte que ce qu'on veut mettre en place soit quelque chose de réaliste et aussi très robuste.
Different countries have different arrangements for involving stakeholders. The important thing is that all necessary groups have the time, information and capacity to participate effectively in the national process.
Et quand on nous a parlé de ça, nous nous sommes dit, mais surtout mon association s'est dit, tiens, c'est une bonne chose. On parle de la forêt, donc on parle de nous. Donc ça va nous intéresser. Il faut que nous soyons là pour voir ce qui se passe, surtout que nous connaissons qu'actuellement.
Et donc la société civile s'est impliquée dans tout le processus de signature de ces accords à travers une plateforme qui a été mise en place dès le début des négociations. Et cette plateforme était composée d'une douzaine d'ONG.
Le fait même de signer cet accord ouvre un espace politique qui auparavant n'existait pas dans le pays, un espace politique important. À partir du moment où, au sein des accords, il y a une part belle qui est réservée aux acteurs de la société civile. Et actuellement, les acteurs de la société civile auraient donc à se rapprocher de l'administration et d'autres acteurs plus facilement au travers les mesures qui sont consignées dans ces accords.
Just before the VPA process started, the NGO community or the civil society community in Ghana started this process of a network of NGOs, which they call the Forest Watch Ghana.
There were very strong commitments from the government, from the Deputy Minister, promising to expand the participation on the steering committee, to have 2 civil society seats, to ensure that in some of the working groups that were being set up to handle specific issues such as the definition of legality, such as the assurance system, such as issues like regulating the domestic market and so on. The civil society would also be represented on those working groups and on the policy committee, which was supposed to receive the product from these working groups and generate coherent negotiating positions. So we got those assurances. We also got an assurance that after the VPA, during its implementation, and as a matter of sector policy, these participatory approaches would be integrated into the functioning of the sector. Okay, so of course we're very happy with that, and that allowed us then to call a much larger civil society meeting beyond Forest Watch Ghana. We got representatives of the 2 trade unions that are active in the forest sector. We got representatives of research and academic organizations that work on environment and forest issues. We got representatives of some of the media organizations, both people who focus on the environment and people who work more generally on public information rights and so on. We got quite a few community representatives, in some cases chiefs, in some cases what we call district forest forums. And at the end of this meeting, that group, excluding the NGOs left the room and allowed the other group to elect their representative onto the steering committee. So we now had 2 representatives, Albert Katako and Nkwapna Nketia, on the steering committee. And I think almost everybody will agree that from that point on, the process acquired some momentum.
I think the VPA will take care of the bigger legal reform issues, but it should have a conflict resolution mechanism inbuilt.
We can capture that.
Civil society groups are not just involved in national discussions. They also have a role in government delegations in many countries, helping to design legality verification systems and negotiating with the European Union over the final legally binding partnership commitments.
But David, what is that? How feasible is it?
The government of Ghana, they have made sure that each stakeholder is represented in their negotiation team. They have done so fantastic in making sure that civil society is represented in their negotiation team.
You have the industry involved in the negotiation, you have the civil society involved in the negotiation, and it wasn't like in the past where we would have had only the trade expert coming from the Ministry of Trade, and then the Attorney General's Department, and the ministry responsible for such a sector. This time we had our members involved, and I think that is what is important.
Civil society representatives are often best chosen by groups themselves and benefit from clear roles and responsibilities.
It's not about those of us coming to sit at the meetings, but it's also about how we link up with the constituencies from which we are coming from. And that requires time. The initial roadmap was so tight that it didn't allow room for us to go back and consult with our constituencies, and we pointed that out.
We are not saying that we should open up the market.
We, the private sector, have now accepted the fact that there is a need for participatory approach, and this has also given us confidence and is preparing us to own the whole process ourselves.
It's about making people understand what is going on, and so sometimes it's one-on-one, and other times we come together as a tripartite group to address and iron out burning issues until eventually we arrived at a consensus on issues that were of national interest.
All stakeholders are unlikely to agree with every detail, but a transparent and respectful process will mean that where they cannot be accommodated, they will understand why. A real negotiation means some compromise on each side. Stakeholder participation in a VPA can help to clarify legal requirements and identify reform opportunities, ensure that legality standards are efficient and equitable, ensure that legality assurance systems are efficient and robust, design terms of reference for independent monitoring that are transparent and accountable, identify additional governance commitments that could be considered under a VPA.
Although we did negotiate with the European Union, there was an internal negotiation in this process in country to reach agreement on, first of all, what standards are we looking at? Secondly, what should be the issues the government of Ghana should put on the table to negotiate with the EU? So this was negotiated in country based on trust. it wasn't a perfect system, but through negotiations we could reach compromises, and that has strengthened the fact that if we sit collectively, we can achieve.
Dalam persoalan, misalnya kalau kita berdialog dengan teman-teman EU atau mereka selalu tanya persoalan kenapa civil society nggak dilibatkan, dan juga pada waktu itu kan dalam proses transisi dari sentralisasi ke desentralisasi atau dari otoriter ke demokrasi, banyak kasus-kasus kehutanan yang bisa ditutup oleh pemerintah, tetapi kemampuan pemerintah terbatas. Begitu kasusnya meledak di publik, pemerintah jadi repot, dan akhirnya kredibilitas pemerintah rendah di mata rakyatnya sendiri. Ya, jadi kita mau nggak mau harus ajak semua orang.
Bagi saya, itu merupakan satu alat atau satu tools yang secara efektif digunakan oleh masyarakat sipil untuk bisa mempengaruhi proses-proses pengambilan kebijakan. Inisiatif Flekti ya memberikan ruang kepada masyarakat sipil untuk berpartisipasi secara politik sebetulnya dalam penyusunan kebijakan, bahkan dalam bernegosiasi dengan pihak Uni Eropa. Most important ecosystem, pit swarm ecosystem, and one of the richest. Yeah. Okay.
Following successful negotiations, stakeholders have now been invited to join implementation committees in VPA countries, recognizing the value of their earlier involvement.
Please ensure that your hand luggage is safely stowed away now and that your seatbelt is fastened tightly.
Non-governmental organizations from partner countries have also visited Europe to talk to politicians about the social and environmental impacts of illegal logging and the way that clear laws, enforcement and VPAs can deliver forest protection and benefits for poor people.
But for discussions around flags.
Hi, Hilary Ben, very nice to meet you.
Zen from Indonesia.
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Aloy from Kalimantan.
Nice to see you.
And Minang from Telapak, Indonesia. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to see you. Faith, how
Hello,
are you?
Really good, thanks. Thanks for saying
You're
that.
most welcome. It's about each of us doing our bit, and I think what's good about the VPA process is it gives a chance for everyone who's got an interest to get stuck in, and hearing that the organisations, the NGOs, are part of that negotiating process. Well, that is a big step forward.
Bringing groups together to talk about VPAs in this way doesn't just affect forests. It can also change the way that people think about other natural resource sectors.
It goes beyond forestry. It goes into natural resources, including there are links that are even linking it to mining. They want to see the same process that happened in forestry, happening in negotiating mining concessions and so on and so forth. So that's a beautiful development, and I wish it can be translated to natural resource management in total in the country.